probably think you'd know if someone was manipulating you. You'd feel it, you'd see it, you'd catch it in time. Think about the last relationship that left you confused, not angry, not hurt, confused. You couldn't explain what went wrong. You couldn't point to a single moment and say, there. That's where it started. It just felt like you were always slightly off, always slightly wrong, always slightly too much or not enough. And the most disturbing part? You blamed yourself, not them. You. That's not an accident. That's a design. Here's what the research actually shows. The most effective manipulation tactics ever documented by psychologists were specifically designed to feel like love, like care, like someone just looking out for you. And by the time most people realize what's happening, the damage is already done. I mean that literally. This video is about the 5 signs that someone is running dark psychology on you right now. Not theories, not guesses. Clinically documented, verified mechanisms with names, researchers, and measurable effects on the human brain. Stay until sign number 4. Because that one doesn't just happen in toxic relationships, it happens in friendships, in workplaces, in families, and most people never see it coming. Sign number 1. They make you doubt your own memory. Psychologists call it gaslighting. But most people think gaslighting is just lying. And that's not the whole story. I mean that. It's much darker than that. Gaslighting is a clinical term named after a 1944 film. In the movie, a husband slowly dims the gaslights in the house, then insists his wife is imagining it. That's the entire mechanism, not one big lie, 1,000 small ones, delivered with total confidence by someone you trust. Here's what happens to your brain. When someone you trust contradicts your memory, repeatedly, calmly, confidently, your prefrontal cortex starts deferring to theirs. It's not weakness, it's neuroscience. Your brain is designed to update based on social input. Therapists call the end result perspecticide, the death of your ability to know what's real. And I was like, wait, that's why victims don't just leave. They can't, because they no longer trust themselves enough to know they should. The sign to watch for: you constantly second-guess memories of conversations. You apologize for things you don't remember doing. You feel confused after interactions that should have been simple. Sign number 2. They use your love against you. This is the one nobody talks about, and it might be the darkest of all. Healthy relationships feel safe because someone knows your vulnerabilities and chooses not to use them. Manipulative relationships feel intense, almost addictive, because someone knows your vulnerabilities and uses them with surgical precision. The early phase is called love bombing. Overwhelming attention, constant validation, the feeling that this person gets you like nobody ever has. And I was like, this feels amazing. Why would I question this? But here's what's actually happening. They're studying you, cataloging your needs, your fears, your soft spots, not to protect you from them, to know exactly where to apply pressure later. When the manipulation begins, the criticism, the withdrawal, the guilt, it works because it's coming from someone who has already made themselves essential to you, someone you've already opened up to, someone who knows where you're most vulnerable. The sign to watch for: someone who made you feel uniquely understood early on, now uses that understanding to make you feel uniquely responsible for their emotions. Sign number 3. They make you feel guilty for having boundaries. Not everyone is uncomfortable with your success. Mind you, sometimes they're uncomfortable with your independence. Have you ever noticed that some people seemed perfectly happy with you until you started saying no? Until you started making decisions without asking for their approval. And then suddenly, the criticism begins. The guilt starts to appear. The emotional distance grows. This is not a coincidence. When someone loses the ability to control your choices, they look for other ways to influence you. Guilt is the most efficient tool they have. They won't say, "Give me back control." They'll say, "I guess you don't care about me anymore. You've changed. I never expected this from you. The goal isn't to communicate their feelings, it's to make you question your decision. Healthy relationships encourage honest conversations. Manipulative relationships use guilt to replace them. The sign to watch for: setting a boundary creates an emotional crisis. For them, not you. Your no is treated as an act of betrayal. Sign number 4. They rewrite history in real time. This one is terrifying once you see it, and you can't unsee it. I really do mean that. It doesn't start with a big rewrite. It starts small. A conversation you remember clearly, they remember differently. An agreement you both made, they claim was never made. A moment you know happened, they say didn't. Each correction feels minor. Each one is delivered calmly, and each one chips away at your confidence in your own perception. And then one day, you realize every argument you've ever had ends with you apologizing, even though you can't quite explain what you did wrong. Every conflict somehow becomes evidence of your instability, your sensitivity, your unreliability, because they've been slowly, carefully building a case, not in a courtroom, in your mind. Clinically, this is called systematic reality distortion. It's not occasional dishonesty, it's a sustained campaign to replace your version of reality with theirs. And the most disturbing part? It works because it's gradual, because it comes from someone close to you, because by the time you notice, you've already stopped trusting yourself. And here's what makes this particular sign so devastating. It doesn't just affect the relationship you're in, it follows you out of it. Long after the person is gone, you still second-guess yourself in conversations. You still over-explain. You still brace for the moment someone tells you that you remembered it wrong. Because your nervous system learned, through hundreds of small corrections, that your perception cannot be trusted. Therapists call this hypervigilance. Your brain is now running a background check on every memory, every interaction, every feeling. Not because you're broken, because you adapted. Because you survived something that required you to constantly doubt yourself just to keep the peace. That's the real damage of psychological manipulation. It doesn't just hurt you in the moment, it rewires how you experience reality, long after the manipulator is gone. Sign number 5. You feel worse about yourself than you did before you met them. This one is the simplest, and maybe the most important. Manipulation doesn't always announce itself with cruelty. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, dressed up as concern, as honesty, as feedback. But here's the test that never lies. Think back to who you were before this person entered your life. Your confidence, your trust in yourself, your sense of what you deserved. Now compare that to where you are today. Healthy relationships, even difficult ones, leave you feeling more capable over time, more understood, more yourself. Manipulative relationships do the opposite. They create dependency, they shrink your world, they make you feel like you can't function without the person who's been slowly dismantling you. You shouldn't need to earn the right to feel okay in a relationship. You shouldn't feel relieved when someone is simply kind to you. That relief is the sign. If you recognized yourself in any of these, that recognition is the beginning, not the end. The beginning. Because the most powerful thing a manipulator does is convince you that your perception can't be trusted, that you're too sensitive, too reactive, too much. You're not too much. You were just given very little by someone who needed you to believe otherwise. The moment you start trusting what you see again, that's where everything changes.